गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Where were we? We are in the 20th OV of chapter 5 of Amrit Anubhav. And here, ऐसेनी ये प्रसिद्धे चालिली सच्चिदानंदपदे मग द्रष्ट्या स्वसंवादे भेटती जेव्हा. In this manner, the self-enquiry with the help of these terms, Satchidananda, will lead to the essential nature of the self, as at times a seeming illusion leads to reality. Last time we told that Sambadi Brahma. Sambadi Brahma is an intentional delusion, just like last time what did I get example? Yeah, the example of two people going in the jungle looking at some source of light, and both of them think it is a diamond, and they go. One goes and finds that it is only a bulb. The other one goes to another, also the source of light, but he finds a diamond. So both started with ignorance only, but they deluded themselves in believing that it is reality, it is the diamond, and one got it, one didn't. Same way, these words have become popular and are being used in the scriptures to create Sambadi Brahma, an illusion that yields the desired objective, a wrong method producing right results. So there also they started with a wrong method. What was that? Ignorance, imagination that it is a diamond. And one does get it. So, Swasamvada, we saw this also. I think we did this verse, isn't it, last week? Yeah? Can you all hear me?
Yes, Swamiji, we can hear you. We did this last week.
We did this last week, yeah. Swasamvada means talking to oneself. Instead of saying, I am Satchidananda, one talks to oneself about the meaning of the words. The meaning of Sat is, it is not an opponent of Asat. That I is Atma means that it is not contradicting Anatma. And this is very important because majority of the times, what majority? Most of the time, we are talking to ourselves in our own mind. We are having Swasamvada. So, who talk to themselves in their mind? Mad people talk in that mental asylum. Second, who talks? People like us. We keep talking to ourselves. We say we are talking to our own mind. And the third is so we are all in the category of mad people only. Swasambhada. But what is the quality of that self-talk? Our self-talk should be like this, wherein everywhere, every experience, every stimuli must initiate or it must bring our mind to the self. Swasamvada. In this way, when one goes on contemplating and one tries to find out one's own source, that enquiry will end where knowledge is revealed. Enquiry necessarily happens with words. Words appear as thoughts in our mind. Understand? And initially, thoughts must subside, words must subside in order to reveal the reality, the truth that we are. And once that is ascertained, that once you are that, thereafter whether thoughts are there or not there, it doesn't matter, because your vision has transformed. So when one goes on contemplating and one tries to find out one's own source, that enquiry will end where knowledge is revealed. Majority of the times our misconception that knowledge means collection of information. Knowledge means knowledge of something or someone. And that habit of sensory knowledge or thought knowledge is superimposed on the self also. And therefore, we think of the self and we think we are having the knowledge of the self. No. Self is self-revealed. Self does not need any thought, any accreditation, any validity from anyone. Not even thoughts. That is the self. So when we say knowledge is revealed, knowledge of the self being the self, that knowledge that I am me, I am I, subject aware of the subject, or in other words, subject contemplating on the object called the subject. Then this thinking will go away, and all our contemplation must come to this juncture where subject is contemplating on the subject. How long it is required? Only one moment. Only one moment. Meaning, in order to be, 1 moment is required. How long you should keep doing this? As long as there are other thoughts distracting you, till you are not focused and available to it. And when nothing is distracting and you are with it, then you don't need to think of I am I or who am I. Then the self will reveal. Self is of the nature of knowledge. Thoughts are not of the nature of knowledge. How can something that is coming and going be of the nature of knowledge? So Mundaka Upanishad says, Paragnan and Aparagnan. Apara knowledge and para knowledge. Apara knowledge is the thought knowledge. Para knowledge is the self knowledge. Where these words meet, the words disappear. Where the subject and object meet, the words disappear. Words appear when you are hungry. I want food, I want food, I want food. Once you meet the food and food becomes one with you and food become one, the thought eruption, the desires which are appearing as thoughts in the mind, I want food, it subsides. Similarly, the desire to know the self, who am I, or I am that, that will also, the words will disappear. And the truth, the essential nature of the drashta is revealed. Drashta, the observer. Drashta, the onlooker. Drashta, the witness. Witness is always about, no, witness is someone who is witnessing something. Here when it says the essential nature of the drashta is revealed, when the witness, the observer, becomes aware of the observer, the eye becomes aware of the eye. The witness as if becomes aware of, instead of witnessing the world, the witness, the eye, becomes available to his own source. Who am I? Then the words, then the waves of thoughts, appearance of words, continuously trying to work it out by mind, all this then drops. In this way, although these words carry no meaning from the point of view of the Absolute, yet by the method of Sambadi Brahma, intentional delusion, they are very much useful to the seeker. So at the relative plane, it is useful. Not from the Absolute. From Absolute plane, the words have got no meaning, the world has got no meaning, the Jeev Jagat Ishwar has got no meaning. But for us, oh my God, what? Ishvara has got no meaning. He is a non-believer. What? The world has got no meaning. Everything is so real to me, seeing, touching, feeling, tasting, and you are saying that it is not real. You think this body is not real. I think he is ready to be admitted to a mental asylum. No, we are all living in a big mental asylum called the world. Get out of it. Rediscover it to be divine itself. We are very quick to judge others. These are mental people and other. We are mental. We are mad. How do the words disappear after revealing the truth? Jnaneshwar Maharaj explains through a number of examples. Te veli varisoni megha samudra honi bogha sare dauni maga rahe zaisa. As the clouds vanish on raining, the river on reaching the ocean, or the road on reaching the destination. Once the clouds have given up all the water, the clouds vanish. When the river has reached its destination, the ocean, the river loses its identity. The road on which we are traveling to reach our destination, then the road stops. When the waker who is seeking the sleep, when he reaches sleep, the waker vanishes, isn't it? The word Satchidananda and Atma, we are talking about words. The word Sat, Chit, Ananda and Atma disappear after having revealed the essential nature of the truth. Like the clouds and disappear after pouring the rain. So also these four words, after pouring out wisdom, disappear and the nature of the drashta is revealed. Nature of the witness is revealed. So, who was contemplating? The mind was contemplating. For contemplation, thinking, the thinker, the thinking and the thought is involved, no? Triad. Without that you cannot do contemplation. Contemplator, contemplated upon and contemplating. Three are involved. Right now, there is a listener in you and a listened to and the listening. These three are taking place. In me, the speaker, the spoken to and the speaking is taking place. Are we able to stand apart from this listening and speaking? Right now, not after some time. Right now, are we able to stand apart from this triad? Or we are lost in being the listener and the speaker? See? So, first step is coming to recognize that you are the witness. For that, you have to, what is the initial step? Body disidentification. Without body disidentification, we cannot come to recognize that we are the witness. What is the easiest way? Like Ravana, cut your head and be the witness? No. Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. Chant the name is incessantly with love, devotion, as if there is no tomorrow. 24 hours a day, the mantra. Don't take a long one, take simple and keep chanting it. It will purify the mind, it will sublimate the mind from gross to subtle, bypass the causal. When you come to the para, you are the witness. Para is where you are the witness. Witness of what is not there. And if you practice it enough, then whether it is there or not there, you are still the witness. But now question is, who is this witness? For that you cannot remain in the witnessing. For that you have to make the inquiry by again coming back to Vaikhari. So why did we do the Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para with the Japa mantra? To inquire, to purify. After purification, after having reached the samadhi or the witnessing state, come back to Vaikhari, because Vaikhari is the sattvic area. Or while this side by side purification is happening, as we are doing, we are continuously in the theme of self-discovery, self-realization. So all this keeps, your understanding is also taking place, inquiry is also taking place. See, you can only fly with two wings, you cannot fly with one wing. If you think only inquiry, no, it must be coupled with bhava, with purification. And purification will happen by Naam Jap, Mantra Jap, Om Jap, Hari Om Jap, Om Namah Shivaya Jap, whatever. Otherwise it will not be fruitful. Yes, you can do the enquiry with devotion. That is also okay. But you assess yourself. Is your mind becoming quiet or is it more agitated after enquiry? Many people become more agitated because too many questions. They come to one satsang, instead of having a calm mind, they have got 100 more questions. So that we don't go the wrong way of continuously questioning. We have to sublimate this mind, and that is through the Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. And that is the way. So also these four words, that is Satchidananda and Atma, after pouring out wisdom, just as the japa, doing Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para, what was its purpose? We began with ignorance, we began with the aham bhav, I am doing the chanting, I am practicing the Naam Jap, and it led to where? Paravani. It led to witnessing, isn't it? Same way, if you can understand the whole process in this one line I have told you, that you started with ignorance, you kept chanting from gross to subtle to causal to transcendental, and what was the conclusion? That mantra delivered you the witnessing consciousness. made you recognize that you are the witnessing consciousness of the mantra, of the waking dream and deep sleep, of the body and mind. Inquiry, involvement with inquiry like this. Here we are doing Satchidananda Padatrayi Vivarna. Here, these words, keep practicing that. And with that disposition, when we come to this knowledge, then we realize, Arey, Satchidanand. So here, Sat, Chit, Anand and Atma, these are words and they are being used only to deliver you to yourself. See? You to yourself means the essence of the witness is being revealed through these words. Words cannot deliver it. But can the witnessing consciousness be delivered by the Nam Jap? No. Witnessing consciousness you are, and the Jap is in your mind or on your mouth. So you are always the witnessing consciousness. So what did the japa do? The japa pacified your mind. The storm in our mind was cooled down. Same way these words, Sat, Chit, Anand, Atma, Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, etc., etc., they are the terminology or the words with which we inquire into the nature of the witnessing consciousness that we have discovered ourselves to be. And we come to a realization if we have understood properly. And that realization, it comes about thereafter. Whether you use these words or you don't use these words, it does not matter. You don't need these words thereafter in order to determine who you are. Then why do you use these words? Why do Mahatma use these words? To explain to others, not to themselves. Huh? To explain to others. Why do they use that? Because that's our scripture language. It is the best language. No other scripture in the world has this language, has this terminology, has this fearlessness to say that you have to give up the words, that you have to give up the scriptures. That alone shows us that they are really wanting to help us. Otherwise, if scripture was the God, then we will be keeping it on our head and doing puja and not reading it, like in many places they do. You go to the court, I take the oath of this scripture and to say the truth and nothing but the truth. And at the very next moment he tells lies. Because he knows it doesn't mean anything to him. It just becomes an act. So is the usage of words in our mind, is just for nothing? Are you understanding what these words signify? What these words indicate? And how do you know that you are going the right way? The mind is becoming calm. The mind is becoming cool. And the calmer, the ego is getting dissolved. The inquirer is getting dissolved. See? Second example, the flow of water in the river keeps constantly moving in one direction as if propelled by some urgency. How long? Until the ocean is reached. Once the destination is reached, there is total fulfillment, and thereafter there is neither Gangaji nor Brahmaputra nor running anywhere. So, how long are your thoughts running? As long as you have not reached the destination. In which direction are your thoughts running? Are your thoughts multi-pointed? Are they running towards the children? Are they running towards the parents? Are they running towards the world? Seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, thinking, imagining. All these are thoughts only. So are you going into all these different directions and getting broken up, pulled this way and pulled that way? Or they are all going in one direction like the river, which means all the thoughts of your mind are unidirectional towards the self, just like the japa, towards the Lord. Have we cultivated our mind in that manner, in this manner as it is being told? Or we appreciate what is being written and what is being heard, but I don't think it is my cup of tea. I have to. How can I not interact with my children? How can I not interact with with the world? I think it is wrong. How can I stop seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting? Hey, this is stupid. I no. Yeah. What you are saying is okay, but that but is always there. The teacher, like in our Kenopanishad, when the student says to the teacher, "Hey, teacher, why are you telling in all roundabout ways? Why don't you tell directly?" When the teacher says, what inspires the senses and the mind and the pranas? He says it's the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, the pranas of the prana. The student says, "Why are you speaking like this? Why can't you tell me directly?" He says, "I don't know how to teach. It is your problem to learn. I can only speak in this manner. You have to understand." "No, but I did not know." "That's your problem." "No, but you are teaching." I didn't teach. You came and asked the question. I am answering it. How can the teacher teach? How can the scriptures teach that which cannot be taught? That which is beyond the words? Think for a moment that we are using all these words to determine that which is beyond the words. And if our approach is subjective, that which is beyond the words, I am. If you are pinpointed this, then you are the witness in consciousness. If you recognize this, that you are at this moment, in spite of all the words coming to you, in spite of all the words coming out of this mouth, I don't lose the poise. I am the witness in consciousness. So teacher cannot teach. So you have to find out a way. The student was told, you have to find out a way, because it's a subjective approach. It is not by someone's touch, not by someone's speech, not by someone's doing anything the student comes to realize the truth. So stop allowing your mind to run in multi directions. For that, you have to have faith, you have to have patience, you have to have shama, dhamma, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhan. That whatever is. And with that preparation, bring, or while preparing also, keep bringing your mind towards the source. Keep bringing it towards the source. That's the only option we have in this life. If we are seeking fulfillment, if we are seeking happiness, if we are seeking a solution to all our problems, if we are seeking fulfillment of all our unfulfilled desires, and if you are a good observer of your life, that from childhood till now, how many desires you have, every time a desire is fulfilled, 10, 20, 100 more are waiting to get created to be fulfilled. So is there a way I can satisfy all my desires in one go? Is there a way I can dissolve all the miseries in one go? An intelligent person will contemplate in this manner and come to an independent conclusion, which will mirror the conclusion of the scriptures and Mahatmas. But this conclusion must not be just copy pasted from the scriptures or Mahatmas. You have to assess your life and come to a resolution and be convinced that by pursuing this path, by coming to realize the self without the thoughts, all desires will be fulfilled in toto. All miseries will be dissolved in toto. All differences will be dissolved in toto. Now, if that doesn't fire up your inspiration, then continue your pujas, continue your investments, continue your involvement in family and the world. Nothing wrong. If that is that is what is giving you the kick, then continue there. But if you are a seeker, we must come to this conclusion within ourselves. And it must fire up our imagination. It's no point, we are inspired, but I want to be multi-pointed. Then you are like a person with two legs in two boats on a river. You will be torn apart. It will be a painful existence. Third example, when the road enters a cul-de-sac or enters the compound and the entrance of the house, the road ends. It does not go anywhere further. Similarly, these four words having indicated the truth get dropped. Very simple, it's not very hi-fi to understand. You are thinking of going to sleep every night and you stop thinking of sleep once you have reached the sleep. Once the one who wants to sleep, who was thinking of the word sleep, 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 when he becomes one with it, or the sleep is delivered. When is the sleep delivered? We saw that somewhere before in this text or in some other text, I can't remember, where all the possible disturbances on account of the world get checkmated by your availability to the sleep. That's when the thought sleep also drops. And that dropping is the sleeper and the sleep become one. The one who wanted to, not the sleeper, the waker. The waker whose object of contemplation was sleep. So waker and the sleep, the subject and the object, when they become one, sleep begins. Now no more words are required. See? And this is happening to you every day. Only thing is, we are not recognizing that all answers are with us only. Life is our entire day, our entire life is every moment that truth is abundantly expressing itself. The principles are being displayed in every experience. We don't have the acumen to catch it. Therefore, purify. The moment you purify, you become available to higher, sublime thing. Your vision changes. You start seeing, Arey, yeah, everywhere it's the same. Everywhere this principle is expressing. Every experience, everything that the world is throwing at me is only to prompt me to fall back into myself, or to prompt me to be myself, not fall back also, to be myself. No experience in our world is taking place in order to trouble us or to excite us. It is only there so that we can recognize, our true nature. But we are also stubborn. The more the world throws experiences at us, the more we react. Instead of accepting, que sera, whatever will be, will be. We keep reacting, keep fighting, keep standing in opposition. फिर लगे रहो और क्या. Their purpose is only to create Sambadi Brahma, a created delusion. The delusion of the thoughts. What is that delusion of the thoughts? What is the delusion that you are in right now? How is that delusion expressing? How is non-apprehension expressing as misapprehension in your life right now? How is the ignorance expressing? Ignorance is nothingness. How is it expressing in your life right now? It is expressing as, I am this body, I am this parents, I am this son, I am this person. So we are already in delusion. We are already in wrong thinking. When we are living with these conclusions that I am the body, I am the senses, I am the mind, I am the past, I have made myself, I was born, I am going to die, it is already the wrong conclusion. Then what are the words of the scriptures? They are the right conclusion. Why are they used? To cancel the wrong conclusion. Because only thought can cancel a thought. You cannot take a brick and cancel the thought in the mind. So, the wrong conclusions in the mind have to be cancelled by right conclusions, by right thinking. So, wrong thinking has to be corrected by right thinking. And that is what we have done by cancelling asat with sat. Asat was wrong thinking, sat was right thinking. Achit was wrong thinking, chit was right thinking. Dukkham was wrong thinking, anandam is right thinking. And when both are, when they are both corrected, and there is nothing to correct anymore, then right thinking is also not required. It also drops away. How long it needs to be maintained? Till the wrong thinking does not dissolve. That's exactly what Japa is also doing, but at a faith level, at a devotional level. You're checkmating all other thoughts with one thought. And if you are subjective, then that mantra will reveal the entire truth. If you're chanting Om, it will reveal the entire truth. Everything, all that you are reading here, it will all be revealed from within only. You don't need to read books for that. Nisargadatta Maharaj did not read one single book. All he came to realize after 2-3 years of isolation and contemplation of Tattvamasi, his conclusion was, I am that. And then he started speaking. He couldn't contain himself. Arun Maharishi remained silent, he could not stop himself. See? It was a natural phenomena. But you read his book, someone has written, something, other white fellow has written that book, I Am That. What sublime thoughts, so crystal clear, no ambiguity. Just as Ramana Maharishi, no ambiguity, straight. Just like river, it may meander here and there, but its goal is only one. What is that? Ocean. We are going through various roles and various days and various childhood, teenage, youth, middle age, now old age. We are meandering through life. But are we clear of our destination, or are we going only in circles, reaching nowhere? This must be a lifetime goal, not a temporary goal. If it is a lifetime goal, then whatever you see, hear, touch, feel, think, waking, dream, sleep, you're not obsessed, but unknowingly your mind is continuously seeking that goal. It's not distracted because of all the activities that are taking place in the day. Just like your mind is not distracted when you are driving, you know which destination to reach. In that you are honking, you are braking, you are accelerating, you are changing lanes, you are overtaking. Whatever the obstacles come, your negotiation of the traffic is not to reach nowhere. Your negotiation of traffic is to reach the destination. And the traffic is not demanded by you. It comes. Sometimes there is no traffic, sometimes there is so much traffic. Sometimes there is a traffic jam. Sometimes you get all the green lights, sometimes you don't get any green light. So when we are living our life, and this life is continuous traffic of experience, continuously the world is coming at us. How is it coming at us? By way of thoughts. Sometimes there are too many thoughts, sometimes there are no thoughts, sometimes some things are very clear, sometimes they are very... we try so hard and still we are not able to break through the traffic jam of the thoughts. All these things happen. But are we clear of our destination? As we are going through our life, is our destination only sleep every night? Is our destination, oh, I am hungry and I eat food. Okay, now I am fulfilled. Now what next? Oh, I have to watch this serial. Oh, I have to watch that movie. I have to go and call these people for food, lunch, or I have to attend that marriage. Some are avoidable, some are unavoidable. But in and through all this, what is given more importance to? These activities are given importance, or the destination is given importance? And you don't, when you sit in the car, you don't keep saying, 11 volts live in you, 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 11 volts live in you. You don't say that. You don't keep repeating the address of the destination. You are, when you begin your journey, you are absolutely clear of the destination. Without any doubt. Flexible enough to take a different route if there is too much traffic. And that is what dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma. When the child was born, this was the foundation that was given to the children so that they know what the destination of life is. And once you have become clear, you go through the education system by age 16, you know purpose of life is moksha. Not one day, here and now. Then after that, either some people will become sannyasis, some people will carry on with the grahastha life, artha and kama, because that is the destiny of that particular equipment to go through that. But not forgetting, moksha is the ultimate destination. Moksha is the ultimate destination. That brahmachari takes sannyas also because moksha is the ultimate destination. He doesn't want to wait for 30, 40, 50 years. He wants it here and now. And this is an urgency within. If the urgency is within, then there is no tomorrow. You want it here and now. And it is available only here and now. The self is self here and now only. It's not available tomorrow or yesterday. देखो, first delusion is I am a limited being. This delusion is counteracted by a super delusion that I am Brahman. Super delusion. I am limited, I am the body, is counteracted with I am the Atma or I am Brahman. It's also a thought. Now read it in the context of what I just told, which washes away the earlier one, and when the earlier one washes away, I am Brahman also drops because it is not required anymore. And what remains behind? What remains behind? What not remains behind? Which was always? The thoughts were the superimposition on it. Water is always. Wave is the imagination on the water. Another beautiful contemplative example follows. Phal vyuni phool suke, phalanashe rasa faake, to hi rasa upakhe, trupti dani. The flower disappears on giving fruit, the fruit on yielding juice, and this juice also disappears on giving satisfaction. In other words, everything in our life, every event that is taking place in our life is moving in that direction only. Every experience, every event, every contact, every association, every thought, you have to just recognize that all this is only there to reveal the self, not to establish the world, but to reveal the self. The flower dries up and destroys itself to reveal the fruit. The fruit disappears on becoming juice. This also obliterates itself in revealing as total contentment. In the same way, the words Sat Chit Ananda destroy themselves in removing the earlier delusion of Asat, Achit, and Dukkham, and thereafter there is only a beautiful gift of contentment and fulfillment in life. That is what is remaining behind, what was told before. This is the fulfillment Bhagwan Krishna refers to when he talks about the man who rejoices in the self, who is content and satisfied with the self alone. आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो नाकृतेनेह कश्चन. आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः, the one who rejoices in the self, the one who is satisfied in the self, not by anything in the world, not by the changing, but by himself. Then he does not need anything else in order to be fulfilled. Then whether $1 million come or there is no money, does not matter, because I am. Or that on gaining which he thinks no other gain superior to it, and that in which he abides. This is in the 6th verse, 6th chapter, 22nd verse. यम लब्ध्वा चापरं लाभं मन्यतेनाधिकं ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते. Yam labdva cha aparam labham, having gained that which is transcendental, aparam. Having gained, by gaining which no other gain is required. Our Nachiket also asked that question only. What is that by knowing which nothing else remains to be known? When he asked Yamaraj, this was his question. I want to know that by knowing which nothing more needs to be known. What is that by gaining which nothing else remains to be gained? Meaning all your desires are fulfilled once and for all. This contentment does not die to something else. This is the end of the long trek. All other, the happiness gained out of, the fulfillment gained out of eating food, again you become hungry, thirsty, again you become thirsty. But once we gain that, by gaining which nothing else remains to be gained, then there is no fall from that. You are ever abiding in that one. This state of statelessness is the ultimate destination where there is no fear of loss and nothing to be achieved. It is not a state. Turiya is a state. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Turiya. Waking, dream, deep sleep and Samadhi. Samadhi is a state. Self is not a state. We keep using this word. Self is the natural state. Again, it's a word. It is to counteract the states of the word natural state is to counteract the waking state, the dream state, the deep sleep state, and the samadhi state. And once your obsession with these four is over, then natural state, this word also will drop away. As long as your obsession, what is this? Where is America? Where is Australia? Where is the 12 apostles? Where is the Uluru? Now you change. Who am I? Now how long you have to ask who am I? Till your obsession with all these, where is this, where is that, who is this, who is that, when will corona go away, when it will come, how many more variants will come? Till all these questions do not get pacified, when, or they die their own death, when you are, as long as you are on your self-inquiry, who am I? Then when no more questions of the world are there, then who am I is also not required. That will also drop away. Because you are already. Why you are asking who am I? Are you stupid or what? The only issue here is you don't know exactly who you are. You think you are the father, you think you are the body, you think you are the mind, you think you are the breathing person, you think you are the one whose heart is beating, you think you were born, you think you will be. So, all these wrong thinkings, wrong conclusions about yourself have to be corrected, that's all. Thinking has to be corrected. And where is the thinking? Where is the thinking? Is it in the self or in the mind? It is in the mind. And because of this unwanted thinking, unclear thinking, just as many waves on the water do not allow you to see the orb of the sun or the moon completely reflected in the water, so also so many thoughts in the mind do not allow us to recognize if I want to use the word, the orb of the self, the reflected orb of the self. So I'm always seeing myself in reference to something. I'm not seeing myself as I am, complete. The moon reflecting in a waveless water is exact reflection of the original moon. Has our mind come to that point? Has your inquiry, when you say who am I, have you come to that conclusion that aham brahmasmi, Brahman is the moon, the total, and I is the thought in the mind. This I is the reflection of that, not the thought, the being. For that waves have to subside. The whole game is of correct understanding. And the correct understanding brings about the initially sublimation of the thoughts. And once we have recognized ourselves, thereafter there are thoughts or no thoughts, it does not matter. A few more examples follow. Ka ahuti agnyat घालुनी तोसरे हात सुखा चेववूनी गीत उगारा है. Or on offering the oblation, the hand withdraws and the song having given the joy disappears. When the oblation is offered in the fire, the hand is withdrawn. Once the ahuti is dropped in the fire, there is no more purpose in extending the hand. Once the contemplation has revealed the truth, then there is no longer contemplation required. It withdraws itself. See? Once the ahuti is dropped in the fire, if you keep remaining your hand in front on top of the fire where you put the ahuti, you will burn. So also the words Sat Chit Ananda and Atma are withdrawn after they have served their purpose of indicating the truth. The words can only indicate. They cannot take you to the truth. Indicate the truth. And where is the truth? Who is the truth? What is the truth? You are that. Tattvamasi. So mind is thinking these thoughts and it is looking for its source. That source is not discovered, it is not absent and now it has come because we were thinking. No, it was always. But it was hidden behind the veil of the mind. Once the mind becomes calm and quiet, once the mind, meaning mind is consciousness with thoughts. Once the thoughts subside, the veiling is taken away, then the truth is revealed, which was always there. Live your life in such a way on a daily basis that mind remains calm, cool, collected, focused, is very clear of the destination. We are talking about mind. And every now and then you can always, I am the witness of the mind. If that comes, fantastic. Then inquire into the nature of the witness. Make the witness be aware of itself. Not of the world, not of the mind. Nature, the witness becoming aware of itself. They have no further meaning once the truth is revealed. Once the culture is put in the warm milk and left there for some time and you get yogurt. After that, if you want, and the yogurt is set, and from the yogurt then you churn, and from the churning you get the, what do you get? You get the butter. And after getting the butter, you say, oh, but I want my milk also, I want my yogurt also. You cannot go back. Impossible. You cannot go back into your childhood. You cannot go back into your teenage, youth. You can imagine. You are free to imagine and be miserable or be excited. But you cannot go back. You left it behind now. You can only be here and now. That's the only choice we have. Anything about past or anything about future you can only imagine. Same way. After getting better, you cannot go back. After having realized the self is revealed, no, I want to hold on to the words. I want to hold on to my imaginations. I want to hold on to my father, mother, daughter, sister, wife, children. Not possible. I want to hold on to my body. Not possible. But Mahatmas are expressing, get there and find out. It is not a copy paste. It is not something that can be understood. Get there. Be the self. When the song has given joy, the song disappears, but the joy lingers. In the same way, the word Satchidananda or Atma kindle the fire of one's own essential nature. Thereafter, the words are dropped and the truth is revealed. Again, the same point, in different ways it is being expressed. Some more examples are given. What is the time? नाना मुखा मुखदाऊनी आरिसा जाय निघोनी का निदैले चेववुनी चेवविते जैसे. Or the mirror goes away after having revealed the face, or as the person after having awakened the sleeping one goes away. The mirror shows the face to the face. The moment the task is over, the mirror is put away. This is you go in front of the mirror. Once the job is done, you don't carry the mirror in front of your face all the time. And it does not carry the faces with it. Neither you carry the mirror nor the mirror carries the face. It only reflects once. Once the purpose is over, okay, I am neat, clean, tidy, hair is in the right place, bindi is in the right place, beard is in the right place, not going everywhere. Done. The purpose of the mirror was to reveal, was to reflect. After reflection, it continues to do what? Whatever comes in front of it will reveal that. But you have become clear as to who you are. So what is your mirror? Your mirror is your mind. Once the mirror has your mind has become clean, crystal clear, to reflect the consciousness. As the reflected consciousness. Once you know who you are, then it's over. Then mind can continue doing whatever it. Now there is no doubt, no confusion as to who you are. So also, having revealed one's essential nature, the mirror of the word Satchidananda carries no meaning. So the purpose of the mirror called Satchidananda, where was Satchidananda? In the mind alone. Understand, Sat Chit Ananda and Atma, these are also waves in the mind, waves of thought in the mind. They also need to be, once they have removed, checkmated all the opposites, Asat, Achit and Dukkham and Anatma, then they have got no purpose. Just like we don't keep going around saying, I am Swami, I am Swami, I am Swami, I am Swami. We don't keep saying. If someone asks, who are you? Then you will say, I am Swami Paramananda. After that, I don't keep repeating, Swami, I'm Swami, I'm. बेवकूफ है क्या? Same way, the mind doesn't have to keep repeating again and again once it has realized. Once it has merged into the source. Then this question, who am I, has got no meaning after that. Then whatever language whatever words do appear in the mind of such a realized one, they are only in response to the questions that others ask, or they are a natural expression, because my body and mind have to do something, so they are doing, and it is always to propagate the what it has just the mind, what it has just come to know, it will keep talking about it. The mind we are talking about, without ever losing the self. The self remains. Self is no longer corrupted. It can no longer be covered thereafter. The person who was asked to wake up the sleeping person will do so and then go away. So also these words Satchidananda and Atma wake us up to our own essential nature and then disappear. Just like a seeker finds a guru coming into his life, wake him up to the essential nature, then the guru goes his own way. But what does the seeker or the seeker do? Is if he thinks guru is the answer, the physical guru is the answer, and hold on to the form, hold on to the name, hold on to the feet, what is my life without you, blah blah blah, then forget about self-realization. No attachment. The teacher teaches and goes away. The banyan tree produces the seeds, drops them, and doesn't have a desire. I must hold on to the seeds, they are mine. No tree holds on to the fruits. And then the wind comes and blows them away. Then from that seed another tree is created. Similarly, no guru keeps the students hanging on to him. Student also must interact with the Guru Maharaj only to recognize that Guru Maharaj is none other than the self within. Once he realizes this, once he realizes that every word, Sat, Chit, Anand, Aham Brahmasmi, Brahmatmaikya Bodh, Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Swarup, all these are only, again they have a form, they are gurus. They are keeping the opposite away and they are revealing the truth to us, indicating to us that we are that. Once we have come to know, then whether we use the words or don't use the words, it does not matter, because we are already that. The self is not corrupted by words, appearance of words or disappearance of words. Self is not corrupted. The one who knows the coming and going of waking, dream, deep sleep and samadhi every day, he is not corrupted by these four coming and going. Every day they are coming and going. You know. After giving so many examples, the thought is now concluded. तैसे सच्चिदानंद चोखटा दाऊनी दृष्टया दृष्टा तीन ही पदे लागती वाटा मौनाचिया. In the same way, the three terms Satchidananda, having revealed the essential nature to the seeker, attain silence, become quiet. In the same way, that is, as in the examples given in OV 21 to 24, the three words Satchidananda, having revealed their essential nature to the seeker, disappear. What disappears? The words Sat Chit Ananda disappear. Just as we saw in today's meditation or in Kenopanishad or in everywhere same thought is going on, or in Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, the enquiry, who am I, this enquiry, the word, who am I, disappears after the self reveals. That question is no more valid. Same way here. The words Satchidananda become null and void, meaning they disappear. In the only place in which sound can disappear, and where do they disappear? Into silence. And what is this silence? Then what is which silence? Is it the silence, dull silence? Is it ignorant silence? Is it jad silence? Jad silence is samadhi. This is conscious silence. This is eloquent silence. This is Chit Ghana. This is homogeneous silence of consciousness. This is the conscious silence. So whichever many ways you can put it. Conscious silence, not unconscious silence, not sleep silence, not coma silence, not samadhi silence, conscious silence. Therefore, the highest sadhana is listening to the silence deeply and intensely. What is behind everything? Action, sound, knowledge, behind the meaning of Satchidananda, that is I. There is this anahata dhvani which is continuously going on. Sound, what is the sound of silence? We are not talking about the movie. What is the sound of silence? The quality of Akasha Tattva, the quality of space is silence, is sound. When your mind space is quiet, there are no thoughts, your mind is silent, is chit. Is chit without the ta. Ta is the thought. Then, if there is no thought and you are conscious of the silence, then it is called Chidakash. Otherwise, it was Chittakash, the space of the mind. But the journey between space of the mind to the conscious space, it is an imaginary journey, no doubt, because of our obsession with our individuality. So what is it? How do we get from this mind space to the conscious space? Mind space means thought space, space in which thoughts are coming and going. From there, how do we come to conscious space? In Bhagavatam also this example was there. Listen to the anahata dhvani. Listen to the continuous hum of space. Be a little bit aware, close your ears with your fingers if you have to, and you can be aware of the sound. Hold on to it. Even the moment I put my attention on it, Even while I am speaking, I can hear that sound. It's like these musicians, they have a shruti behind, and that determines which pitch they have to take to sing. This doesn't determine the pitch, but it determines the bass, the soundless sound. It is continuous, no break. At least in that श्रुति continuously. ऐसे भी होता है शायद, मेरे को पता नहीं. But this is continuous, unbroken, no ups and downs, monotonous, continuous. Hold on to it. It will take you back. Where it will take you back? It will make you the witness, first stage. Witness of what? When it has delivered, witness of nothing. Nothing is the mind. Nothing is the absence of sound also. Nothing is absence of all sound thoughts, or thoughts which are nothing but sounds. That is Chidakash. When you remain conscious and there is no object to interact with, what is the world for us? Space, air, fire, water, earth. When there is nothing, earth we have left behind, body, breath, water we have left behind, taste, fire we have left behind, form and speech, air we have left behind, the touch and the smell, and the sound, which is the quality of space, that also we have left behind. Now what is left? Zero, nothing. But you are there. That is conscious space. What is behind everything? Action, sound, knowledge, behind the meaning of Satchidananda. This, what we just said, is to be, it happens once. And once you know it, it's so deeply. It's happening all the time, but you consciously bring it about once. Once it has happened, then there is no doubt as to who you are. Thereafter, mind again clicks back in and continues to function the way it was. But there is no corruption, there is no confusion with regards to who you are now. When we develop this vision, these words lead to the very silence that is the core of one's being, where there is no agitation, nothing contrary to one's own essential nature. That is Amrita Anubhava, the experience of immortality. See, space is the cause, space is the element, space is the subtlest of the five elements. Out of space came air, out of air came fire, out of fire came water, out of water came earth, out of water came Aushadhi, means plants and plants. From the plants came life. This is one process given. So what is the cause of earth? Water. What is the cause of water? Fire. What is the cause of fire? Air. What is the cause of air? Space. So is the space affected by any of the four elements? Can the air dry the space? Can the fire burn the space? Can the water wet the space? Can the earth digest the space? It is because of space that these four elements are functioning. Space is independent. what will be the attitude, what will be the disposition of space towards these four? What is the disposition of the space towards these four elements? Because they cannot exist outside space, they are existing in space only. So what is the disposition? I alone am.
They're all consumed within the space only.
It's not even consumed. Space doesn't need to consume also.
Yeah, it's all one it is, yeah.
Don't put your attention on the four elements.
Yeah.
Take the standpoint of the space. What is the standpoint of the water with regards to ocean and waves? What is the standpoint of gold with regards to the ornaments? What is the standpoint of space with regards to four elements? They. See, that is the standpoint of the self with regards to the mind, which can become silent at times and which can become active at other times. We have consciously brought it to silence so that we can be the real one, not the imaginary one which we were for so long. And once we have come to know crystal clear who we are without a thought, thereafter the phenomena of mind will continue, doesn't matter. This is the journey. How the speech is incapable of describing or defining truth, we will look at it in our next class. Yato vacho nivartante. This is Taittiriya Upanishad thought. So, contemplate in this manner again and again and again and again till we come to abide. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om.